Welcome back to the fourth quarter of the Bobby Dupre Show, along with my sidekick, Andrew.
Good morning.
And we have 15 minutes to rattle the gums, and let's start with our last.
How about Quarters Casino, our last sponsor for this show this week? Quarters Casino with, of course, the general manager over there, our good friend, Mr. Pat Willis, got the newly renovated casino in. Go by and smell the nice, clean, fresh air and fresh paint inside. Try your luck in gaming there. Go next door to El Pico de Gallo restaurant, their authentic Mexican restaurant and cantina, and enjoy those great margaritas, which you get 2 for 1 with your meal. Open from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Mondays through Sundays. And you can go into the convenience store and you can get some good crispy, crunchy chicken. You can get your Subway sandwiches. You can get your authentic Stuckey's candies and all the stuff you remember as a kid that you used to go and stop and get at all the different Stuckey's around the country.
I picked up a Subway on my way to Winfield last Thursday afternoon, right around 1 o'clock, I guess it was, 2 o'clock. And I ate half of it there, and I saved the other half for myself because I was by myself.
You got that foot long?
And I didn't want to cook. I got the foot long.
Did you measure it to make sure it was a foot?
No, it's about 11 inches.
That's close enough.
But it starts off, and then it shrinks a little bit. And they worked over that little deal real hurry. We have, occasionally I've been getting calls from Dan Burkhalter, a longtime friend, another very successful adjuster for umpteen years, now working part-time for St. Andrew Parish District Attorney, Mr. Earl Taylor. And he goes out and visits with the groups, group meetings, and talks about scams.
And protecting yourself from identity theft.
Identity theft. And he called me to ask me to mention that right now a lot of people are getting these 1099 forms in on your earnings, either at work or interest earned at different banks and different federal credit unions that pay you interest. And these scammers can take these, steal them out of your mailbox, and look at them and get some of your personal ID identification. And of course, I'm happy to pass this on because it is something that is occurring.
And check your mail and bring it in fast.
That's correct. And I had a personal experience myself in the last 10 days of somebody getting into one of my accounts, and I'm not going to go into details of that, but it's so funny that he called me yesterday, and I had spent yesterday afternoon with Jim Lopez working up a letter to send out to all of the banks and different people that have my personal information, kind of asking them to be careful because somebody might be calling in and trying to say they're Bobby Dupre. So it's happened to me, it can happen to you.
There's only one Bobby Dupre.
Well, there's a lot of them. Big Bobby Dupre right there, right in Ville Platte, you know. Yeah, and there's a big, tall Bobby Dupre right here in Opelousas. So. Yep. And anyhow, be careful with those personal identification numbers, particularly your Social Security, your date of birth, and things like that. Leon Robinson has been selected as the St. Andrew Parish Council Chairman. And that took place recently, and we want to congratulate him. I've known Mr. Leon for umpteen years, and a good, honest, hardworking person. Good luck to you. And maybe we can get maybe a better year this year. I hope they start thinking about their re-election and start working together to get some roads done, some drainage matters, some bridges.
I'm not against roads. I'm 100% for roads.
For roads, and I'll back the two taxes. I'll pay a little bit more money, and I live on that. My road is good, but I like to see the roads. If you build a good road, you're going to see people wanting to come into St. Andrew Parish for multiple reasons.
Yeah, oh yeah. Not this Saturday, but next, is February the 16th, is going to be the Hogruta Vidrine family reunion over at the Amberley building from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. They're even going to have a little mass that Saturday afternoon. More info, you can contact Mardell Sibley, 692-0429.
A person that recently died was Patrick B. Bourgeois, Jr., relatively young man, 60 years old. And of course, can't say that I knew him, but I did know his daddy, and Mama, Patrick Bourgeois. Patrick and I worked at Mud Supply Company when I was working my way through college. And of course, his mother was Clarabelle Lalonde Bourgeois. And Clarabelle was raised right here on Highway 31 and right not far from King Street in Opelousas, where her daddy ran a meat market, successful meat market for many, many years. Watching television, Louisiana Public Broadcasting, recently, two of the afternoon news individuals for LPB were interviewing Keith Jones, and I go way back with Keith Jones, and myself and Louis Unglesby and one other gentleman had bought a large facility that was used for catering in Baton Rouge. Back in those days, you'd get a big tax write-off, so all of us had bought this particular unit.
Keith, for years, was head of the Trial Law Association in Louisiana.
Very, very well-known attorney. Looked real good, and I really feel ashamed that I've never contacted him. You know, as well as I've known him, I haven't seen him in years, but he looked just like he did the last time I saw him. And of course, it's been a tough year. Keith's young son, Gordon Jones, was one of the 11 that was burned to death in the Gulf oil spill event that took place.
The Deepwater Horizon.
Right, and it was a good interview. It really was. Everybody was rational. They were just going over things that have occurred, and while they're talking about money, they don't feel that they've ever been told that they were sorry by the proper people with BP. And that's hurting. It's like the closure has not come. I'm sure they're going to offer them some money, but there's more to life than money. And you could tell that Keith and his family, and I know the others have also been saying the same thing. They'd like for the man in charge to meet with them. They were in the same room, and that could have happened recently, and it didn't happen. So anyhow, I feel for these people, particularly since I know Keith so well, and good family, and his young son had two young kids, if my memory serves me correctly.
Tough.
Tough love. What about Oprah Winfrey? Oprah, she had a long interview with Lance Armstrong, and they're kind of hoping that this might give her a little bit...
Give her a boost and give him a boost at the same time.
At the same time.
I think it helped her more than him, though.
She's so popular that I guess they were hoping that, he was hoping that being on her program and be the first one to hear the story that occurred over the years that he was racing these bicycle races and winning them, and then they finding out that he was kind of using a little souped up juice there.
Some go-go juice.
Yeah.
like them horses used to get in the old days. They don't do that no more.
Oprah has lost several $100 million
with her network.
With her network. It just has not come through so far. In fact, there's some discussion, I think, recently of maybe shutting it down or maybe getting some other investors with new ideas.
It ain't easy to do.
It's not easy to do.
You know what it's like running a TV station yourself.
Yes, sir. It's not. It's not easy. Very easy. Solid Waste Disposal District donates the roads, which is good because the big heavy trucks, we all contend that they do damage, particular to the more inferior roads that we see out in the country. They were not built for these type of heavy trucks, and especially when they go to turning and everything, it really tear up the road.
That's one thing when they went with this new service that picks up, they went to a new provider, you notice they used the slightly shorter trucks, and that was supposedly part of that was to cut the weight that they run around. But I went out to the parish solid waste area this past weekend down in Beggs, and had to drop a few things off. And of course, you put your metal in one pile and the breakdown stuff in the other. And they recycle. They recycle the metal. They recycle the oils. They recycle the tires. So I mean, it's a really impressive facility.
Y'all had a garage sale at your house, I heard?
My wife had a yard sale. Yes.
I heard this. Somebody told me that they need to go by your house and pick up some goodies that she bought from Sabrina.
Somebody told, yeah, somebody. I know exactly. We're on the same page.
We talk about Little Red.
That's right. Somebody told me. They said, I read in the paper you having a yard sale. I said, really? I must not have read the paper. I guess I need to check that out. And when I got home, I found out I did have a yard sale. So.
But our solid waste disposal does a great job, and we're glad to see that working between the different agencies.
And very polite when you drive up. They're nice. They're friendly. It's a good thing. They run well.
Recently, when the last tornado came through South Louisiana, over in St. Martinville, the La Poussière Dance Hall, which is, I don't know how old it is, but ever since I was a young kid, La Poussière was in existence. And Mr. Lawrence Patin, who's the present owner of La Poussière, is happy to announce, and he's already holding dances, so it has reopened, and he says, come by and visit, and you shall enjoy yourself, Sha.
Now, what does that mean, La Poussière?
The dust.
The dust
is flying.
You got it.
You're dancing, and you're making the dust fly.
I just wanted to make sure you knew.
Oh, man. Come on. I went to the La Poussière. I tell you who I was with. I was with J.Y. and Novella. J.Y. Reed and Novella.
And what was the one that was in Karen Crow was almost dust? It was La Boucan. It was
La Boucan.
Smoke.
La Boucan,
Boucan, exactly.
Boucan, that's right. That's right. That's the smoke.
The smoke and the dust.
Smokehouse. And they have the brewing company. I'll get to it in a minute.
In Orneville?
No, not the one in Orneville.
Another one.
Another one. This one
Parish
here is
Brewing.
in Broussard.
No kidding.
And it calls, the name of it is Parish Brewing, and they're already at the point where they're going to tap into the Baton Rouge and New Orleans market. They really are coming on strong.
Fantastic.
And Mr. Godley is one of the owners of this company, and we wish them nothing but continued success. And reading some mail that came through, and I guess this probably came through because of our friend T-Bob Hebert.
T-Boy.
T-Boy Hebert.
T-Bob.
From Kenner, Louisiana.
Right.
And I got this. No, I ran that on. I'm sorry, I ran this. But there was in the Daily Advertiser, there was a small ad: "Happy 50th wedding anniversary," and it's Lyndon and Carolyn Bursager, and Burke, as we called him, was on the SLI football team, and he came out of Gonzales, Louisiana. We'll have to finish this story
30 seconds
next week
left.
because I didn't realize we were already
Happy Mardi Gras.
up.
Don't forget to go get your ashes Wednesday morning. Ash Wednesday starts.
On January 30th, 2010, our friend Joe, better known as Dr. Feelgood, died. And on February 5th, 2012, Miss Mary Ann Mesh died. And of course,
10 seconds.
Our thought for today is, Lord, calm my soul so that I may silently listen to and treasure your word. Come and visit with us at the retreat house. This weekend, as every weekend, we ask you to consider attending the church of your choice. Thanks for viewing. Thanks for listening. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.